Hello everybody. Welcome to our
Guys,
VFS chat. I'm Amy Van Warmer. I'm going to be your host tonight. Um, I'm an instructor at Vancouver Film School. I've been a makeup artist for 20 years. And like all of you, I'm really excited to sit here and just take in whatever Kevin has to throw at us. And I feel like we're going to get a lot thrown at us. Um,
oh boy.
any questions? Any
Oh,
questions you all come up with during while Kevin and I are chatting, please throw them into the to the chat here. And towards the end, we're going to get to a bit of a Q&A. So just drop your questions as they pop in your head, and we will try to get to everybody's towards the end. And let me make sure I got all my housekeeping. Nope, I think that's all my housekeeping. This is our guest, Kevin James Bennett, everybody. Kevin has been a makeup artist for almost 40 years. Multiple Emmy nominations, 2 Emmy wins, and his career spans all the facets of the industry.
girls
We
are
see him
behind,
there.
hanging out.
So hi, Kevin. Welcome. Thank you so much for doing this. This is
Having
awesome.
me. Thanks for having me. I mean,
This is great.
I played with you guys at IMATS a number of years. I know all the crew. So
Yes, and you know what? They all remember you fondly. Stan and Alyssa both were like, "Oh, we've met him. It's so great." So we're excited to talk to you tonight.
You guys do great.
Could you start us off by giving us a little bit of your background? Like, how did you get started in makeup? What were your first inspirations for makeup? How young were you? Give us your little background.
We're going to try and condense this. We're going to do because I'm going to just start this up by saying makeup was plan D. I was going to be on Broadway. I was going to sing. I was going to dance. I was going to be famous. That didn't work out. I had a very lovely, old Jewish casting director turn around to me at an audition once and said, you're very good, but you're very gay. You're not leading man material. So I was like, okay, crushed. I then had to think about what I wanted to do. And my dad was an architect. So he taught me a lot about interior design, about furniture crafting. He used to build stuff. My dad was a Renaissance man. He was a musician. He was a painter. He did everything. He was awe-inspiring. So what ended up happening was eventually, through family ties or whatever, I had an uncle that worked at Bloomingdale's, and he got me a job there in the design department, visual department. And back in the early 80s, Bloomingdale's every Thursday night would close at 9 p.m. And then Friday morning, it would be a new store. Like, we would move walls. It was like, it was like a fantasy land. It was like we would be there through the night getting ready for the next day for transition. And I was in charge of cosmetics, accessories, and shoes. So I had all the big launches on the B-Way and all the big beauty spots, and we worked and what ended up happening, again, long story short, my roommate at the time was in charge of the windows on 3rd Avenue in Lexington, Peter. And one day he said, we've got 50 mannequins going up on Lexington. You know how to paint. I need your help. Because we had to do it overnight. It was very funny. It was a tribute to the Miss America pageant. And every mannequin was made to look like a different state would look. So
oh wow,
the wigs and the makeup and everything. So I'm in the window, and he tosses a basket full of makeup at me, and I'm like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Well, we use the makeup that's being promoted on the B-Way on the mannequins that week." I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting there with the first mannequin torso with the head, and I'm painting with the makeup on the mannequin, and I'm like, the inevitable Oprah aha moment. I was like, oh, creativity, painting, it washes off if you fuck up. I was like, okay, this has got me very interested. Within 2 months, I was already working with one of the cosmetic companies. So it was like, okay, there you go, done. Worked in retail for quite a while. Worked for some really big companies, including Chanel. At one point, I was actually the resident makeup artist at Barney's New York, Uptown on 61st Street.
Wow.
At that point, I was running from Barney's. I was going, there was a Peter Coppola salon on 65th. So 61st to 65th, they'd have a client come in. They need makeup, Kevin. I would run with my kit over there. And then at night, I would go to King Studios up on 71st on the east side. And they would be taping like, talk shows like Maury Povich style and all that, and American Journal and things like that. And I would do makeup there at night. So I was working 7 days. Oh, and I was doing bridal on the weekends.
Wow.
Suffice to say, the thing was, I was not sure where I wanted to be in makeup. So I was doing print, I was doing events, I was doing video, I was doing, base runway. I was where people would say, well, would you consider? I'm like, write a check. I'm there. I'm there. I didn't care. And you know what? The thing that's very interesting is it made me a much more well-rounded makeup artist, especially starting in retail, because you don't get to choose who sits in your chair in retail.
Yeah.
You don't know how old they are. You don't know what size they are, what condition their skin is in, what they're looking for, what their expectations are. You're not making a character. You're not making somebody pretty to walk a runway. So I learned hardcore working in retail. And I say this to kids all the time. Kids, sorry, I'm old. I use that term. I say to the kids all the time, it's like, you should play in retail a little bit, because the thing is, once you get into that momentum of just feeling comfortable with whoever sits in your chair, you don't ever get nervous about it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time I was working for Chanel, and I was one of their like traveling makeup artists, and I would go into a store and it was like an event, and they would book a face every 30 minutes for me in the chair for the entire time I was there. I'd have an assistant charting for me, I'd have somebody else prepping and making sure the face was clean, but I was doing a face and selling it every 30 minutes. By the time I landed in television full-time, I don't know, the girls back there, those come from heading the department on 2 network soap operas for 9 years. So by that time, we were pumping out soap opera divas in 20 minutes in the morning. So
Wow. Oh my gosh.
with lashes. So the thing is, I've never ever been I can't say I've never been afraid. I've never been afraid of failure, because the thing is, I understand the importance of failure when you're learning. My entire career, my success is actually built on failure, because I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I'm not afraid to fail, because you know what? You fuck up, you figure it out, you move forward. And hopefully you don't make the same mistake again. If you make the same mistake continually, you need to talk to somebody and find out why. But by the time I got to soap operas, where we had one show I worked on, we had a contract cast of 40 people. 40 people, contract. That's not even offsides, under fives. We had a contract cast of 40 people, and we had to be on, we would arrive, I would arrive at 6:30, my team would arrive at 7. The first group of actors had to be on the floor for blocking by 8:30 a.m. They had to go through hair, makeup, and wardrobe in an hour and a half.
Wow.
And draw rehearsal, all in 90 minutes. So that shows
And it's
you
full glamour.
boom, 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 boom.
Oh my
And
God.
because the thing is, this is what people don't tend to remember. When you work in daytime, there are no reruns. You do 250 episodes a year. You're down for 2 weeks for vacation. And the thing is, every time you're down for a holiday, if you're doing 5 episodes a week, you have to get a full episode done every day. That's an hour episode every day. If you have a day off, the next week you're doing 6 and 5 or 7 and 5. And the thing is, the days in these fictitious soap opera cities, towns, whatever, a day can last one episode, a day can last 7 episodes. Let's
Yes.
say you have an episode, let's say you have a day that lasts 2 episodes, another day that lasts 3, and let's say now we have to scoot in those extra 1 or 2 or 3 shows from whatever wild card data from your continuity skills have to be so on point. And I'm not just talking about makeup. We used to do special effects. Cuts, bruises, burns, all that other stuff had to go up and like if somebody had a black eye, it had to go up and down at the correct levels. You had to keep track. It's like, okay, in the morning we're on this date, but in the afternoon we're there. So also reading scripts, I would read 5 scripts. I would have to have read for the next week 5 scripts. Each script was 85 to 100 pages. I would have to know in advance if one of the characters was having a total meltdown to know what her makeup should be planned for before the meltdown. Also to know that, well, we shouldn't put her in a really strong lip color because that's going to make her unsympathetic. I mean, oh, I'm sorry. I mean, am I going off on a tangent? Yeah, I am.
No, I love this. This is awesome.
But no, I mean, it's very important. I learned character study there. I learned continuity there. I was very fortunate when those 9 years were done and my gas tank was empty. One of the people, actually 2 of the people that worked with me in my department moved on to primetime and went to Law and Order, and they took me with them.
Oh, nice.
But I was not the head, I was not the key, I was the third in the department, which was really cool because every time I went in, I got to do guest stars and special effects. So I got to hone my special effects skills. Also, I got to work on a lot of celebrities I never, ever, ever thought I would touch. Because you know how many celebrities go through Law and Order. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was wild. Actually back when I was still doing daytime, one of the companies I was buying products from, they were seeing the shows and they were saying, my God, everybody looks so gorgeous. Can we talk? Like, what are you doing with the makeup? And I told them, and I said, well, I'm making my own airbrush thing, and I'm doing blah, blah, blah. And this is Jane Iredale. And she said to me, she said, I would love for you to come up to Great Barrington, and I would love to work with you a couple of days a season on product development. And that's how I started in product development. So
Yeah, it all just snowballs, right?
and at this point now, I mean, I do makeup, I develop makeup, I develop brands, I do copywriting, I do marketing, I do social media integration for brands. I design exterior packaging. Because a lot of the time, like at one point I took 3 years back in corporate and I was with Makeup Forever for 3 years. You guys and IMATs in Vancouver probably saw me with Makeup Forever a couple of times. And I was traveling so much for them, I would be on planes with nothing to do. So I taught myself the entire Adobe Creative Suite. I taught myself, graphic design, video editing. I'm an overachiever. What can I tell you? Ask me another question.
I love it.
Ended here. Was that too long? Sorry.
Not at all. No, you know what? I think they're like such a great lesson there. It's so easy. I remember being in school and almost feeling like, okay, but like, what direction am I going to go? And I had an instructor who said something similar that was like, just say yes, do things. If someone has a job for you, go take it. And I like, even you talking about the cosmetic retail experience, my favorite thing about that experience is you don't know who's coming and it's not really up to you. Like it's a person you don't know and you have to figure out what they're going to be happy with. That experience, I did it for a couple of years with Lise Wattier as well. And that experience of trying to please some random little old lady who's wandered in that day or they've booked for a makeover is
And
a
she
completely different thing than,
and she wants blue eyeshadow and coral lipstick.
yeah, you better find the right shade of blue.
And you got to make it work.
Yeah. It's such good experience because that's another place where I see people stall out.
Natural, and they show you a picture of Kim Kardashian. I said the
Oh
K
my
word.
gosh.
I said the K word. Sorry.
You dropped it early. It was coming. Um, no, I think that's great. I love that. There's so much that people can learn from just even having that green light to go do all these things. You don't have to figure out the end of your career 5 months out of school. You've got to go get all that experience. Did you ever do any work in theater?
Well, actually, that's the reason I felt comfortable getting into makeup because I had
Right, with
theatrical
with the
training.
acting.
So I had to learn, again, overachiever in college. I was a performing arts major. My minor was psychology, which worked great in retail,
Yeah.
perfect in retail. But while I was in performing arts, I also took set design, I took costume design, and of course I had to learn theatrical makeup. So I started learning theatrical makeup and basic special effects for stage while I was in college. So transitioning in, to makeup applications in a whole consumer area was like easy for me. That was like, okay, this isn't that hard. I know how to like build a face. I mean, it's a lot bigger for stage and a lot more, intense and hard
Yeah.
looking. The thing is that if I soften the edges, I already have a working knowledge of how this happens, how to shade, how to counter shade, how to deepen things, how to make people look brighter, lighter, how to change, the configuration of the face, how to this also helped very much with the moneymaker, as I call it. When you go into regular makeup, and we're talking, consumer, bridal, red carpet, special event, it's all feature enhancing makeup. Learning how to take the features that they have and make them look their best. It's not about the Instagram face where everything is wiped out and then rebuilt. It's about people don't want to wear that much makeup. As a matter of fact, when people say, well, it's a style, it's like, no, it isn't. You've never seen that makeup on a red carpet. Never. You've
Hmm.
seen it at some weddings and you went, ooh, she's really going to hate those pictures 10 years from now. Right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Was that too much?
No, I like it. I like it because you're saying so many of my thoughts. It's so cathartic. Um, so then, okay, so bleeding into, people who are starting their careers, I know you've got thoughts and advice for someone who's starting their career, building their business. Let's dive into that conversation a little bit. For someone who's, say, they've just left school, and as they're starting to put the pieces together to build their own reputation and build their business, what would you say to that person? What's advice that you would offer them?
Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to remind people that even when you're working in creative crafts, when you graduate from school, it's sort of like doing anything else. It's sort of like graduating from law school. It's sort of like graduating from medical school. It's like you don't go directly to the corner office. Everybody thinks like, well, I went to school now and I'm done and like I need to work. It's like, no, you need to assist. You need to work with people that are doing it and getting paid and getting booked and learn how they're doing it. And you need to, I mean, everybody hates to hear this. You need to freaking assist. You don't, people that work in cosmetology, they don't graduate and go to work in a salon. They have to assist until it's deemed that they are worthy to have a chair. Correct? So
Yeah.
in the makeup, all of a sudden people think it's like, well, I went to school and I'm good enough. I'm gonna go work now. And all these people that are like online asking, well, I got to do this kind of makeup. How do I do it? It's like, boom. Have you taken the kid out and tried? That's the other thing. It's like I love when people ask things like, can I mix this with this? It's like, have you taken your kid out and played with it? I mean, really? It's like, how freaking lazy are you being? It's like, get your kid out. To this day, it was weird because I live in Manhattan in a one-bedroom apartment, but I actually have an entire closet dedicated to my makeup and hair supplies and my kits and everything. So, and I was going in and I was cleaning some stuff out earlier today because I had to get my lights out for tonight. And I'm looking at stuff and I'm going, wow, I wonder. And automatically started playing with things. And I'm like, I don't understand why people don't do this. I don't understand why people don't want to know what's in their kit. I also don't understand why people buy things for their kit without trying them. Just because
Mm,
someone said they need to have them. It's like, oh, you have to have this. It's like, take it with a grain of salt.
yeah.
Buy
Why?
one piece. Buy one piece. See if you like it. See if it does what they said it does. And I tell people all the time, it's like I talk a lot of shit online. I'm like very belligerent about products. It's like if I the way that I test products, I try to break them. That's it. It's like I'm not gonna lie. It's like I'm not delicate, I'm not gentle. I want to see if they perform. Can they work in all formats? Are they gonna fall apart? Are they gonna last on set for 12 hours, 16 hours? Are they gonna sit on the bride's face through photographs, a ceremony, crying, dancing, getting drunk, doing whatever? I mean, it's like I need to know all the things. And the only
Mm-hmm.
way to know all the things is by getting your hands dirty. You need to play in your makeup kit. You need to buy things like my makeup kit looks different than everybody else's makeup kit. Why? Well, first of all, because I don't have one makeup kit. That's another thing. I don't have one makeup kit. My makeup, I got a basic kit, but then I always customize my kit according to what job I'm doing. Whether it's adding more, taking stuff out, whatever. It's like, and my kit is a bag. That's it. It's like, I'm not joking. Everybody that care. Wait a second. Come on, baby. Come on out, boo-boo. This is it, kids. That's my
Oh,
whole kit.
brilliant.
Oh, this also, believe it or not, has ancillary products. It has all the other stuff, skincare and brushes in here ready to go. So one bag. That's the other thing. People need to learn how to edit. And the way that you learn how to edit and feel comfortable editing is by knowing what you're working with. If you don't play with your products, you don't understand your products. Once you play with your products and see what they can do, you feel more comfortable bringing 3 of one thing than 12 of one thing. Like, I don't need to bring 50 shades of foundation. I can do everybody and anybody's face with 6 shades and a couple of adjusters. How much room does that take? So,
Yeah.
so it's like, choices, choices,
Choices.
choices. It's like, and I don't leave anything in its original, form. It's like I palletize everything. All my cream products, my liquid products go from those big ass bottles. Most fluid foundations are 1 ounce, correct? That's
Yeah.
approximately 40 faces in that bottle. I carry 1/4 ounce or half-ounce bottles in my kit and refill them. If a 1/4 ounce is covering 10 faces, how much, what do you need in there? And everybody's like, but then I gotta keep on refilling it. Your job doesn't happen only when you're on the clock. Your job is all the time. Because you know what? This is the thing that we need to discuss. You're an independent contractor. You are the
Yes.
business. You've got to make that choice. Am I invested? Am I not invested? And then when you pulled me up, yep, Jade, there you go. I just read that. It's like, yeah, 6 or 7. That's what you need. 6 or 7 colors, couple of adjusters. That's all you need. At this point now, I've even broken it down where I don't carry a ton of adjusters. I've customized, I've made myself a good olive drabber, like a mix of blue and yellow together, made an olive tone to get that
Yeah.
neat olive tones. And then you have like that beautiful, red iron oxide indigo brick color. Not indigo, I said, I mean Adobe brick color, which
Yeah.
is great for pulling things off. And then white and I mean in black, and that's pretty much it. I
Yeah.
don't, I don't, I don't bring a lot of yellow with me because the weird thing is people are like, well, I have a very golden undertone to my skin. It's like, it's probably olive. It's probably not gold. It's probably olive.
Hmm.
And the other thing is olive is, and this is just a makeup artist thing that has become more of a product development thing for me. I see way too many companies coming out with 500 foundation shades, and they got the neutrals, and then they got all this pink shit that nobody can wear.
Nope.
I don't know if you guys realize this or not. Less than 5% of the global population has an actual red, strong red undertone to their skin. Less than 5%.
Wow.
Everybody's more into the red, orange, orange, red, that more peachy tone, and then it gets more orange and gets rustier. And then the people that have that golden kind of look to their skin, that's usually olive. And the reason that we know this is, well, this is the thing that kills me. It's like you have all these companies making all these gold foundations, these yellow foundations. They make everybody look jaundice. And God forbid you put it on the wrong tone skin that has too much red in it, the face turns orange. And everybody says, oh, it oxidized. It's like, no, it didn't. It's called color theory.
Red and yellow.
Put a gold, you put a yellow based foundation on a reddish looking skin, it's gonna go orange. On the other hand, if you put an olive based green on that reddish skin, it will cancel out the red because color theory.
Color
So,
theory.
which is also interesting because I'm working on a project right now. I can't say who it's for, but I'm working on a sheer foundation product for a client. And I insisted that we do every color with an olive undertone because they're going to be sheer. And they said, well, why would we do that? I said, because they're only doing 12 colors, God forbid, 12 colors, because they're sheer. You don't need more than 12. But everything has an olive undertone, so it will look perfect on people with a warm skin tone. And anybody that has any undue redness, it will even it out.
I love that.
So you only need 12 colors from lightest to darkest. And everything has that slight little olivey undertone. No peach, no pink, no yellow. And it makes sense. Because
Yeah.
somebody asked me once, they said, well, you know, this company came out with this and this company came out with that. And I was like, you know what? I said, I could probably do it across the board, 36 shades, cover everybody, medium to full coverage. And they were like, that's impossible. And what happens? Pat McGrath did. And I was like, look, told you. Again, too much. I'm sorry. Am I getting a little, yeah.
Nope. 10 out of 10. No, you know what? You're absolutely right. And I love it so much. More and more, the more that I delve into the last couple of years, well, we all have. I mean, everybody's gotten really into color theory, and thank goodness we're all overeducating ourselves with it, as we should. And my answer for so many students is, you know, oh, we don't have that color, we don't have this color. I'm like, right, but you got yellow, red, blue, white, and black. You can mix anything. And I mean, just leaning on that more and more. Honestly, I find it more fun too. Trying to mix colors from scratch.
And the other thing that I find very interesting is people always ask me, it's like, well, blush. I never know what kind of blushes to carry. It's like, okay, when you're starting out, write this down, kids, pen and paper. You're going to get some really berry mauvey kind of blushes in a light, a vivid, and a deep, because underneath this skin, blood is actually like a red-violet color. So when you blush naturally, no matter how deep your skin tone is, it's your skin tone plus a red-violet. So if you get a red-violet based blush in different levels or depths, that's a good starting point right there. Now get the same thing, but go on the peachy orange side to rust. You can get away with 6 blushes for your entire kit. And it's like, oh, but what about if I want a nude? It's like, mix it with a little foundation powder, maybe? Or if it's cream blush, mix it with a little bit of foundation. It's like, I have a question to ask.
Okay.
I have one. Do you find that students have a lot more hesitation custom blending things these days?
Yes.
It seems to me that people are afraid to make a mistake. It's like, baby, you know.
Yes. I Our students are, I find a lot of students are crippled by the fear of making mistakes. And I spend a lot of time across the whole program, whether it's early on when they're getting started, especially when we jump into prosthetics and effects applications, just the fear to make mistakes. And one of the things I'm constantly saying is, I'd like to see you take this so far that it's horrible and you went, halfway past the point when you should have stopped. But I'd like to see you screw this up completely and do too much. And then next time you'll know where to stop. But if you don't push it too far and you don't screw it up now, um, how are you going to know? How are you going to know what works? How are you going to know what's too far? But yes, absolutely. People are crippled by it.
See, the thing is, I don't teach on a continuing basis the same people all the time. We do travel stuff, a day here, 2 days there, whatever. And I tell the students, it's like, please don't try to impress me. Don't impress the teacher. I need you to fuck up. I need you to
Yeah.
fuck up, because when you do, then I can take your hand and show you what you did wrong and show you how to fix it. So the
Yes.
next time you make a mistake, you don't freeze because, oh, wait, I already made this mistake. Kevin showed me this is how he fixed this is how I address it, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, that's the way you learn. You learn by making mistakes. And I'm kind of gobsmacked at how many times I'll see newer makeup artists. They literally have like a laundry list, pre-made. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, well, these are my steps. It's like every face is different, every situation is different. You need to learn how to assess it on the fly. You got to take the training wheels off at one point and ride the damn bike. And if you fall down, there'll be people who pick you up. So or even if they're not people who pick you up, you know what? Cry, go home and say, Mom, I need a Band-Aid. It's like
Yeah.
you got to make the mistakes.
Yeah.
You have to try things and not be afraid. It's like, well, I saw this and it looked so easy, and then when I tried it, it was so hard. It's like, well, keep trying. It'll get easy.
Yeah. Well, we have that when our students build their portfolios throughout the program. They'll say, "Oh yeah, I haven't done bald caps in a while. They just, they're hard and they scare me." And again, my first answer is always, "Well, that means you need to do more bald caps. If
Do you know
bald caps scare you, do more bald caps."
ball caps I have ripped to shreds, especially over the years? I have
Mm-hmm.
made mistakes with ball caps. Oh my
Yes.
God. But then it got to the point where I was like, okay, boom. Boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Snooze. Yeah. I mean, and that's
Or
what it
that
is.
I
They
didn't
get scared and they
know.
won't do it. Hmm?
I think that people, this is the other thing that's interesting. People assume that I am a beauty makeup artist. I'm actually a journeyman. Oh, what's the balloons from?
No idea.
Apple, you
Oh,
gotta
that's
stop
brilliant.
this. Um, I'm actually a journeyman at 798. I've been a union makeup artist since 1995. So,
Now
wow.
we don't have journeymen in Canada. What is that like? We have third assistant, second assistant, first assistant, and department head.
No, no, no. This is a classification within the union itself.
Okay.
I joined in 95. They had to then, I had to work for a year or so, and then they came back and they assessed the work that I did and decided whether or not I could get the classification of journeyman. Journeyman means you can do everything.
Gotcha.
You can make them look pretty, you can fuck them up.
Oh, I want that classification. I wish we had it in Canada.
I
That feels
didn't
like a
go,
point of pride.
I didn't go journeyman until 97. They invited me to become a journeyman because they saw that I was doing special effects, they saw that I was doing beauty, they saw all the things I was doing, and then I was invited. And then they say, okay, we're inviting you to be a journeyman. And you're like, oh, I would love to. And they were like, write the check. You got to give them more money.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, whatever. But well, it's interesting now because here in on the East Coast, I don't know exactly how they do it on the West Coast now, but in 798, there's no test anymore.
Not here
Basically,
either.
you put together a portfolio. Like, how do we even know that's actually your work? How do we know if it's been retouched? I mean, people used to sit in a room for 10 hours and, like, do all kinds of makeup, put a ball cap on, lay a beard, do it. I mean, it's like those are the days, like, we used to take fake tests. We used to pay to take a fake test with the people that used to proctor the tests to give us an idea of what it would be like.
Wow.
Um, and you bring a model in, you totally destroy the model's face and hair for 10 hours that day. And hopefully you pass. But I mean, they don't do that anymore, which is kind of interesting to me. Because
Yeah, in BC, we've been told that I believe we've been told that it's not legal to require that kind of testing to then work, which doesn't make sense to me because it's a very specific technical job. I think you should have to prove that you understand what's being asked of you, but you just all you're required for in Vancouver is a set amount of days. There's no trade test, there's no portfolio review, not one that bars you from becoming a member anyways.
see, I think it's interesting because not so much on the beauty side, but on the effects side, there's a lot of chemicals.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a little hair raising, a little scary.
Yeah, we have a written test to get in as a permittee, but that's it. Once you
Oh,
pass a written
Anderson's
test.
Q&A is coming up. Okay, oh god, here we go.
Oh, yes, we go. Oh my God. It's 5:41. This is just going by so fast. Okay. Let me go to our Q&A and see what we've well, you know what? I'm going to take this one question first because I think this might take us a minute. One person's question was, can you tell us about the work you do on Instagram? And I believe they're referring to, consumer advocate when you're talking about, pointing out different companies. And do you want, like, I don't know how to talk about that quickly, but
Basically, the thing is, because I'm in formulation, I'm in product development, I understand ingredients, I understand formulation. I will look at claims made and then look at the product and look at the ingredients, and then I will invariably buy the product and test it and say, well, is it doing what they said? And I will call people out on it because it's like, you know what? We're in, I'm gonna try and keep this clean and simple without getting myself in too much trouble. We're in the world of influencers now. And please understand what they are. They are called influencers because they are paid to influence you to buy things. Okay? They're not your friend. They need to make their coin. I'm not hating the hustle. People are like, oh, you hate the influencers. Like, no, I hate dishonesty. If you are disclosing properly and saying, I'm being paid to talk about this and how wonderful it is, well, then I can take it with a grain of salt. But then we have like 5 bazillion people on the internet talking about how great something is. And I'm looking at the product and all these people are saying, but it didn't work for me, but it didn't work for me. So I buy it and I'm like, well, that's because it's bull. And somebody needs to talk about this. And at this point, I'm old, so you can't hurt me. I mean, last Friday I turned 65. So the thing is, like,
happy birthday, by the way.
thank you. I'm already at the other side of this career. Like, I can retire tomorrow if I want to. But I'm just saying, the thing is, it's like somebody's got to do it, and everybody's afraid. A lot of people are afraid. It's like, oh, I'm going to be shunned by the community. I'm going to be thrown on PR lists. Somebody's like, I'm not on PR list. You know why? Because I tell people, sending me something is not going to guarantee a review. I had one company say to me once, it's like, well, you know what? We send you all the stuff we never talk about. And I'm like, yeah, I don't. Think about it. That's how good your stuff is. So, but yeah, I mean, somebody's got to be an advocate out there, and somebody's got to call out. I mean, on TikTok has become like HSN and QVC. Everybody, because the way the algorithm works is they're not sponsored initially. It's a very strange thing. What they do is they do the video, and then if the brand likes the content, they can then sponsor the existing content. So now what happens is people are going on Instagram and not Instagram, on TikTok, and they're actually doing an ad even before they're paid for it, hoping they'll get it picked up. So none of it is legit. And is that terrifying to you too? Or is it, I mean,
Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to me. And all these people are saying, well, I love this, I love this, I love this, I love that. And like the whole, thank God. I mean, I talked about how Morphe was gonna have a short life, and everybody's like, no, 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 bankrupt. It's, it'll be gone in the next couple of months. But I mean, everybody's like, oh, this is Morphe's just as good as Viseart. No, it's not. The ingredient,
Mm-mm.
you can
That's
have
offensive.
you can have the same damn ingredients, but the thing is, what are the quality levels of the ingredients? You're getting 35 eyeshadows for $25 retail. That thing costs $4 to make, maybe. $4 to make 35 eyeshadows, and you're putting that by your eyes. And when I say that, people are like, well, it's like, no, no, no. There are only two places on your body where things go directly into your bloodstream. One is your eye, the other one you're sitting on. Okay? So, which is why back in the day, people would take their pills and throw them, whatever. But I'm just saying this goes directly into your bloodstream. So you're putting products with suspect ingredients in your eye. And if there's anything in there that's not safe, it's going directly in. Oh, we saw the buildings in China. We saw the manufacturing plant. It looks beautiful. It's modern. It's like, yeah, but you know your stuff is being made there because all the overrun goes to sweatshops out in the countryside where it's not clean and it's not modern. So, okay, I just went on a rant. Sorry. You all know I go on rants. You should have known.
That's why we're all here. We love the
You should
rants.
have known.
If there's
You asked.
anyone listening to this chat right now that doesn't follow Kevin on Instagram, please do, to educate yourself on so many products and artists and people who we need education on. Let's get to a couple more questions here. Someone has asked, is television a steadier line of work for makeup artists than film? What do you?
From my experience, working in daytime was like having a 9 to 5. It wasn't a 9 to 5. It was 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. But it was 12 to 16 hours a day. It was crazy, but it was steady work. It was amazing. I
Mhm.
mean, working in prime time, not so much. You work for 3 or 4 months and you're off. And those are long, long days too. So,
Yeah.
and you don't know if you're going to be picked up. It's like, it's there are no steady jobs anymore. So that's the whole thing. The only steady job that I know of right now is like build yourself a bridal beauty business. You'll work every weekend. You can take the week off. That's how I transitioned from retail into full-time freelance. My bridal gigs on the weekend were paying all my bills. So everybody goes poo 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 bridal. It's like, I'm sorry, it pays a lot of freaking money. And
Yeah.
if you do it well and you're booked often, it's like there are weekends I would make $4,000 or $5,000 in a weekend. So, and this is back in the very early 90s. So, I mean, think now that was 30 years ago or more. So yeah, bridal's great.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'll add to that question too and say, I know in Vancouver, if you can get on a CW television show, you can probably work 10 months of the year. But otherwise, again, you take the job that's offered, right? If
Yeah.
you've got and there's shows that take 2 months to film a TV series, and sometimes it takes 10 months. I don't think there's a black and white answer for that question at all.
I mean, at
Um,
one point, I'm not joking, I was working 7 days a week, and there were days when I was triple booked, and I didn't care because I had to do what I had to do.
yeah,
I would do retail, I would do salon, then I would go to a television studio at night. It's like I didn't care. It's like, you got time? Yeah, I'm going. Bring the kid.
yeah,
There you go.
do the work. Another question is, what foundation shades do you recommend for our kits? Inspired to shave their collection down now. So yeah, what do you think?
I have to question, do you want, how comfortable are you with color theory? Because
Great answer.
for me, the perfect balance is I carry a couple of cools a couple of warms, a couple of adjusters, and everybody say, well, where's the neutral? It's like, when you mix the cool with the warm, it makes a neutral. And they're like, oh, wow. It's like, yeah, you mix, they cancel each other out. Or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you carry a selection of dead-on beigey, flat, neutral colors, and you carry adjusters with you, which is why I created that adjuster palette for our CMA. That has the 5 mineral pigments that every foundation and concealer in the world is made of. Believe it or not, every foundation, every concealer, they made it the same 5 damn pigments. It is titanium dioxide, which is not sunscreen, it's white pigment. You're thinking zinc oxide, kids. When you mix zinc oxide with titanium, it becomes a sunscreen because it's a block, okay? Then you have yellow iron oxide, which looks like a mustardy color, red iron oxide, which looks like a reddish brick color, ultramarine blue, and black iron oxide. Those 5 colors make every skin tone mixed together. And when I teach color theory, I use those 5 colors and I have them match their own skin. So, yeah.
I love
Face
that.
atelier adjusters. Okay, be careful though. I see all of the face atelier adjusters. Be a little careful though, because heat is a little bit pinker than it should be. Just saying. Just saying.
What are some tips that you have for speed other than practice? Is there anything you do to shave time down? This person's working on getting their time down for a 30-minute face for bridal.
Eyes first. Always eyes first. The reason I say this is, and there's all kinds of contentious bit about this. Well, you know, if you can't do the eyes without dropping all over the face, you're just not a good artist. You've done the complete complexion and you started doing the eyes and you got to drop off and you got to clean it up. Okay. Think of the face like a water balloon. Let's say you have a water balloon and there's one spot on the balloon where the latex is a little thin and it sort of bumps out a little bit. This is what happens when you fix foundation and concealer and finished complexion. What happens is you go in there, you clean it up, you reapply it. That's the stress point. That's the first point that's going to start falling apart. So if you're doing a makeup that has to stay in place for 10, 12, 14 hours, do the eyes first, any drop off, anything, clean it up, do a pristine, completely sealed complexion. Don't break it down. Once you try to clean something up, it's sort of like a stress fracture. It's like that little crack in a windshield that goes boom. It's just waiting to fall apart. So also I found that when I was working in television and film, if an actor came to the makeup trailer or the makeup room late, I would do their eyes first because I can't do their eyes on set. They're taking notes from the director. I can throw a powder foundation on them on set if their eyes are done. So I can get their eyes done in 10 minutes. They have to go to set. While they're getting their notes, I'm throwing foundation on them. That makes sense? Did I answer
Totally.
that?
Yeah, so well. I just learned a whole bunch listening to that. That's great. Um, how do you get your name out to producers, etc.? It's so hard to find work when you're new to the game. Ooh, it's a tough question.
You don't go to the producers.
Yeah.
You go to the makeup artists that are working all the time and you say, I love your work, you're so fabulous. And you suck up to them until they hire you as an assistant. And that's how you get referred, because when they're busy, they refer you to the producers, or the producers see you working with that person. It's assisting. Guys, I'm
Yeah.
not, you've got to assist. You have to assist. If you don't assist, I've seen more people struggle to get somewhere when they could have just assisted people and learned the ropes and got the connections and done it. But you never screw the person you're assisting. You always treat them respectfully. And you always, if somebody offers you something, say, well, blah, 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 and you tell them, it's like, well, this person offered me. If they get pissed about it, say, well, you talk to them then. You know, you don't ever throw the people that have given you the hand up. You don't do that. you know? And then we have the old dinosaurs in the industry who just, they won't hire you if you're good because they're terrified. It's like, I don't hire anybody that's better than me. They're going to take my job. It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have that job then. So
Yeah.
when I work, I only hire people as good or better than me because when you're working on a production, the producers and the director don't know who the hell is in the makeup department. Oh, look, that damn thing's doing it again. You don't know who's working in the makeup department. They know who's heading the makeup department. And if things are going smoothly and everybody looks great, they're thanking the head of the department. So why would you hire people that don't do work as good as you do? You're sabotaging yourself.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I think we could probably get in one more question here that actually I'm going to mention something before I ask this question because it's about school. One thing I was asked to mention tonight is that Vancouver Film School, who is hosting our chat, is running a school-wide scholarship until the end of January. If you're interested in applying to a makeup school, you can go look at vfs.edu/future. I'll type that into the chat in a second to apply for this future scholarship at VFS. So that is something that is available. If that is, in your world, please go and check that out. And here's the question I'm going to follow it up with for Kevin. Zuleika has asked, I feel like everyone's teaching makeup nowadays. What advice do you give to people on how to choose the best school?
Okay, school or everybody's teaching, that's two different things. We need to quantify that. Because a school can teach you what they teach. If you're looking to learn from someone, and I made this point out and I wrote a whole big blog post about it and I talked about it. I was like, this person was talking about they were going to teach you about bridal. And I said, this person's never had a bridal beauty business. Why would you go pay them to teach you if they have not had a successful business? You take education, continuing education, basic education from people that are successful in that area of the industry. That's who you take it from. If you want to learn how to do film makeup, you go to people that are successful and busy doing film makeup. If you want to do bridal beauty, you go to somebody who's got a successful bridal beauty business or has had a successful bridal beauty business that can teach you how to do the same. If you want to do print work, you deal with people that are working with photographers all the time. They can teach you how to do the correct makeup for photography. Those are the people you pay. You don't, when somebody says that they're going to teach you how to do makeup and they're a celebrity makeup artist and God knows where, it's like, where are the celebrities there? How are you a celebrity makeup artist? Don't do it. And if you have to travel for good education, damn it, take a loan if you have to. Travel for good education. Don't take crappy education because it's like, well, I can't get there. It's like, wait until you can. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's like, why spend money? Why spend any money on bad education when you can save up and go get good education? Right?
Absolutely.
Did that answer the question?
I think so, especially, get clear about what you want to learn and then find the place that's going to teach you that. That's a conversation I have with prospective students all the time. Because if you want to get into fashion and bridal and beauty, VFS is, we focus on film. Everything is bridal for film, beauty for film, everything as it pertains to film. And that's something I try to share with people. Like, go where they're going to serve what you're looking to learn.
I'm going to give you the big but.
Give me it.
We live in a digital world. We live in an HD world. So learning how to do bridal for film is like learning how to do bridal for HD, which you should because it's going to be in HD if they record it.
Yeah.
So no, you've got it down. It's like the lines are blurred now.
It's true.
Everything's photographed in HD. Everything's recorded in HD. Everything's filmed in HD. It's like you're teaching film. Film is 4K, 8K. That's what we want to learn because you want to, it's got to look this good. Because the thing is, especially in bridal, it can't just look good in pictures. It's got to look good in person. And that's 4K. That's HD.
Yeah.
So
I
you're
love
teaching
that.
that. So you're teaching that. So yeah, you don't need to go somewhere else. Go there. Learn it for film, because if you learn it for film, you're going to learn it for everything.
This is true. We'll help
So
you out, people. It is 6 o'clock and I'm supposed to wrap this up. Unless you want to answer a couple more, Kevin, it's totally your call.
I've
I want
gotten
to
my
put you on the
vodka
spot.
soda. I'm good. Let's
Well,
go.
then you know what? I'm going to ask you another one here. I've got someone who's asked a portfolio question. They are trying to rebuild their portfolio and worried about AI, digital retouching, and the social media climate, just with expectations with portfolios. Like, what's your advice for people when they're putting their portfolios together? What you want to see in a portfolio. And I guess their question is about just expectations with digital retouching, but I don't know. Let's talk about that.
To this day, I only work with photographers that I know don't excessively retouch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put an illustration in my portfolio. I want to put real work in my portfolio. And the thing is, you've got to have the conversation with the photographer. It's like, okay, how also look at their portfolio. Is it heavily retouched? I mean, I won't name names. I did a campaign for a cosmetic company, and one of the influencers that was part of the campaign went online and talked about how Kevin removed all her melanin. Okay, oh, so that does the balloons. You do this thing, it does balloons. Okay, good. Um, Kevin did not remove her melanin. The photographer retouched her melanin out because I had on-set pictures and her hands and her body matched her face. The photographer did it, and I was taking the heat.
Wow.
But I was hired to do the gig, so it wasn't like I had a choice in who the photographer was. But when I was able, he removed my melanin. Look at these pictures. It's like, well, that's because the photographer like excessively lightened her face. But I have behind the
Oh,
scenes pictures, and I'm like, here, look, hands and face, same color. No, wasn't me. So
yeah.
yes, so talk to the people you're working with before you go in and spend the time. Also, the other thing, and this is something that I say to people all the time, if you've already got pictures that you love of that style in your portfolio, do not go on a shoot to get more of them. You go on a shoot to shoot things that you need to build out your portfolio, not more of the same things. Because a lot of people say, well, I was asked to do this, and like, but I already have this. It's like, so don't do it. You've already got pictures that you love that look like that kind of makeup. Don't do more. Use those. And the thing is, it's like this is the thing that gets me absolutely insane. I mean, I update stuff every now and again, but not so much all the time. I I have pictures from 20 years ago, but it was good freaking makeup. It doesn't matter that it's 20 years old. It was good makeup and it stands up today. It doesn't look dated. So don't constantly like redo things because you think it's like, well, I did that 5 years ago. It's like, yeah, but does it still look current? Is it good work? Leave it alone. You're not, if anything, you're better now than you were then. So what the hell are you worried about?
Absolutely.
So yeah. Anyway, that was a long-winded answer, wasn't it?
No, I like it. Um, let's see. I've got another interesting question here. I worked for a live sports television channel for 15 years. Many of the talent respected my work, but a lot of talent demanded a certain look, even if it wasn't the look I would choose for them. For example, a blonde always wanted super dark, harsh eyebrows. She would even darken them herself if I didn't do it dark enough. What would you do? What would you do what the talent wants in that situation?
Always
Always. Yeah.
get the check. Get the check.
Yeah.
Just,
I mean,
just you just tell them nicely. It's like, you know what? In my professional opinion, I wouldn't make them this dark, but if you feel comfortable with them this dark, I'm fine. Let's go. You're getting paid.
yeah, absolutely.
You're getting
I
paid. I
and
mean, it's
and
like,
not getting paid enough to fight with your client.
also, and there's a lot of times when I see, like, especially in the red carpet, I see people get all like, crazy about like, well, that makeup looks horrible. It's like, why are you throwing the makeup artist under the bus? Do we know what talent asked for? Do we know what talent demanded? Um, I have one person in particular who will remain nameless, but she's worked with every damn makeup artist on each coast because she's fickle as hell, and decided that we were going to do this deep, deep, dark, smoky eye and a nude lip. And sure than hell, I did this deep, deep, dark, smoky eye, and she saw the nude lip. And she said, "No, you know what? I always wear red. I'm going to wear red." And I was like, "It's going to look too hard." And she was like, "But I want to wear red." And I was like, "Fine." Pictures came out. I looked on Getty Images. I was like, "Oh, oh." Wasn't my choice. Wasn't my
Yeah.
fault. I did what talent asked me to do. It happens all the freaking time. It's like you can't. Do you want to die on that hill? If you are professionally enough to explain to them, in my professional opinion, I think this is why it would be better this way. But if you're comfortable and want to do it this way, we can. And ask them, it's like, can I try it this way first? And then if you don't like it, then we will do it the way that you want. Because a lot of times they can't, a lot of people cannot envision. We know what kind of learners there are. And some people are visual learners. And the thing is, they will not understand what you're saying to them until you do it. So say, let me try it. You look, you say no, we do it your way. Everybody's happy. Not to mention, they respect you even more because you're going the extra mile. Right?
Absolutely. I know I get that question a lot about film from students, and I'll usually say that I like to call the actor's bluff a little bit and say, absolutely, we can do this thing that you're talking about. Let's grab the director and just clear it with them. And two things will happen. They'll either go, oh, no, never mind. Or they'll say, sure. And then you can let them change the look with the director. But either one works. And it means you're not having to go 10 rounds with that person.
Yeah, I don't ever do the confrontational stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen people do that and they get fired.
Yes. We're very replaceable.
Because we're the help, baby. We are not the celebrities. Just because you're touching a celebrity does not make you a celebrity. You are the help. Get that into your head.
Ooh, I've got one last question that's just the perfect thing to end this on. What is your thought about volunteering your services for an organization that clearly has a budget but just wants to take advantage of artists for promotion? What's the balance between volunteering to learn versus taking an advantage of? I feel like you've posted about this recently.
So many times.
So many times. Let them have it, Kevin.
I mean, the whole for experience, for exposure. It's a big nay for me. I mean, if you've never, all these people that want, I mean, the reason that nobody gets paid to do runway during Fashion Week in New York now is because all these people wanted to try it for free. Back when the dinosaurs were still walking around New York and the surface of the planet was still cooling. Back then when we did runway, the assistants used to get paid $600 to $800 per show during Fashion Week. What do they get paid now? Experience, exposure. You want to do it once, fine, get it out of your system. But the thing is, what are you actually getting from doing this? If there's not something that you're getting that compensates you in some way that is meaningful to move you forward, don't do it. If you're getting compensated in a way that, like, okay, so let's say you're doing, what do they call them now? They used to call them trades, trade for pictures.
Oh, like time for prints?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as nobody on the team is getting paid and the photographer is not selling them to a stock house, go for it, do it, play, learn, do whatever. If you go into a situation and anyone's getting paid and you're not, you're stupid to do the job. Oh, but I want the experience. It's like, get paid. Get paid. If they are doing a photo shoot, if they are doing a production, if they're doing something where everybody else is getting paid but you're not, shame on you for taking that job. And I know it's like, well, if I don't take it, somebody else will. It's like, good, let them. Dumb. It's dumb. I can't tell you how many times I get calls for celebrities now because so many artists are doing celebrities for. Oh, we're bowling already. I asked them for 9. It's after 9 now. All of a sudden, we're bowling again. Very funny. I got a call for a very huge celebrity. And I said, so what's the rate? And they said, well, we don't have a budget for makeup. And I was like, but wait, this is a photo shoot. Are you paying the photographer? Are you bringing in a wardrobe stylist? What's going on here? And they're like, well, yeah. I said, and you're the management or the PR, correct? And I said, are you doing this for free? And they're like, well, you don't have to be rude about it. I was like, I'm not being rude. If everybody else is getting paid, I deserve to be paid. That's it. You want free makeup done? Go get somebody and take your chances. Not going to be me. Was that harsh?
No, it's good. We should be harsh.
That's it. Thank you, Dawn. TFP, that's what we used to call it.
Yeah. But we should. We all have to value our job more, value our extensive training, what it takes to actually do this job. We have to instill in the new generation to value it and not give it away for free. We shouldn't give it away for free.
Here in New York one weekend during Fashion Week, I heard that somebody was doing a workshop. And then after the workshop, they were taking everybody who took the class to do makeup for the runway. That was part of their class. And I'm like,
that's creative.
What? Okay, so these people paid to go to a class and now they're working on a runway show for free. So they're actually paying
to go work.
I'm like, are you kidding? Yeah.
Wow, that's a bait and switch.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, no. My rates are not high. You just don't want to pay me my worth. That's all. People say, and I say to people all the time, they say, well, you charge a lot of money. It's like, well, I do because I'm here in the food chain. If your budget is here in the food chain, get somebody down there. But when your budget gets bigger, give me a call. I'll come play. And I'm never mean about it. I'm like, I don't act like upset or, scandalized. It's like, oh my God, you offered me what? How dare you? It's like, no, my rates are my rates. Well, would you consider? It's like, no, my rates are my rates. Well, we can't afford that right now. It's like, well, when you can, like in bridal, my favorite with bridal is when they say, well, that artist, because I teach the business side of bridal also. It's like, well, your rates are very high. It's like, how much are you paying for your bouquet? How much are you paying for your flowers? You're going to pay, and this is an average in New York, let's say, $800 for your bridal bouquet. That's going to be in 10 to 15% of the pictures, but you're going to bitch about paying for the face that's going to be in 100% of them. Please explain that to me. You just went mute. What happened?
Am I back?
Oh, there you are. There you go.
There I am. One last little technical difficulty. Well, thank you so much. On that note, let's wrap this all up. Thank you for chatting to us tonight. This was so much fun. I could sit here for a couple more hours. Thank you to everyone for the questions. These were great, thoughtful questions. I'm sorry we didn't get to all of them. I think we'd need a couple more hours to do it, but hopefully you all learned a lot from that. This will be posted on VFS's online industry talks site, which I think ultimately goes through YouTube, but this chat will be posted so you can refer back to it. If there's any notes you didn't get to take, it's all going to be there. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for taking the time and spending it with us. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. And let's see, who knows in the future, maybe Vancouver Film School will invite me to come visit and do something. You never know.
Maybe we will.
Ask some questions, kids. They have my rate sheet.
We've got your rate.
And on that note, and we wrap.
And wrapped. Thank you so much.